us home, you can do it here. All right? So don't be afraid of it at all. Cindy, you want to say something? We need you up here. Don't scare my class off. See, I mean, I get up here and everybody exits. No, you know.
Seriously?
Please.
Oh,
please.
okay.
Yeah, please, seriously.
Do you want me to do what I did last time?
Yeah, something like that. You might save a few of them lives, you know.
I'm Cindy. You guys all know me. Let's see. When I started about a little over a year and a half, September was a year, I thought I knew a lot about the Bible, and felt pretty comfortable with my knowledge, but I wanted to learn the Bible in the original language. I really wasn't interested in learning Greek or Hebrew, and I don't know if any of you know John March, but he kind of encouraged me to take a class. And so the first time I came, I kind of sat over there and I sat by myself, and I'm pretty quiet. I don't say a whole lot. And Jim said basically what he told you guys. It was the first day of class and everything else, and he told me pretty much what he had told you. And he said, that he was going to spend most of his time on the Bible, but the Greek and the Hebrew, well, at that time it was Greek, it got to me the first week. I was just like, oh my gosh, you actually expect me to understand what this means and what it says. And that weekend my mom came and she looked through my book and she said, and you're going to learn this? And I said, well, I'm trying. And so I told myself I'm going to give it 6 months, because that first night it was over my head. I had no idea what he was talking about, and I wasn't really sure I cared. But then I realized I did care. And so I told myself I'd give it 6 months. And I know some of you guys have given it 6 months, and they'll tell you that, the same thing that I'm telling you, that you just have to stick with it. Don't focus on the Greek and the Hebrew. Don't try to learn the language. Just listen to what he's saying about the translation of it. And as you go along, you'll start to associate certain symbols with certain levels. Hebrew actually is the harder of the two, because in Greek the alphabet's pretty much similar. The letters look like these letters look like in English. Like W is an O and those kind of things. And you'll learn that as you go along. So don't focus on that part of it. Just focus on because he also has the English underneath it. Focus on that part of it and what he's saying, because you'll learn so much. And don't try to absorb it all in one class period, because he'll say it 95 times. Like what he just stood up here and said, I've heard like 5 times now. And it doesn't bore me at all, because I just get used to hearing it. And he tests this every once in a while. I like that when he does that, because it makes me think. So don't get scared off, okay? Give yourself a time period and say 6 months. I told those guys 6 months, and they were saying, yeah, okay, and they were saying how they wanted to leave after the first class period. You'll feel that way. I guarantee you'll feel that way. But the people that this class isn't for everybody, but this class is for people who are really interested in learning about what's going on in the Bible. Abe, you can say that too. I mean, he's learned so much, and he's learned so much English, I can almost understand what he's saying now. And, he and I have some great conversations about it. So you just have to really relax, and like I said, don't worry about the Hebrew. Say it. He'll say it in Hebrew, and then you say the word, and then he'll say the word, you say the word. Listen to the translation of it, okay, and then listen to how he applies that translation to what's taking place. And you go home and you just say, okay, what did he say about the Bible part of it? I'll worry about the Hebrew as I go along, because you will learn some. I don't know how much you guys feel comfortable knowing about Greek and Hebrew, but you'll learn it as you go. You will. And so the first night that I was in here, it was like people were answering questions. I'm like, how do they know that stuff? There's no way I'm going to learn that stuff. They've only been in here, like he'd say, just like he did. She's been here a year, they've been here 6 months, saying, how do they know that stuff already? I came in, one night, and I learned really easily, and I just, But, now I feel very comfortable with it, and he kind of pushes me to learn, so that helps too. But he's a very good, very knowledgeable man, and somebody once said that was in this class that he was the best-kept secret in Bakersfield, and I think he's more than the best-kept secret in Bakersfield. Maybe in the Baptist church he's the best-kept secret, because this is just amazing what I've learned, not necessarily about Genesis, but about the Bible as a whole. And Genesis really is the beginning of the entire Bible, and it includes the entire Bible in it. So you'll learn so much, and you'll learn not just the Greek and the Hebrew, but you'll also learn the application part of it to things that you never looked at it quite from that perspective before. So enjoy it, have fun with it. Commit to a certain period of time and don't give up on it. Okay. Then if you don't like it after 12 weeks, then you can go do something else. Give it 12 weeks. Okay.
She's a professor of mathematics at the college in Porterville. And Brother Harry was a professor of mathematics also. Would you come up here, please, brother?
Like you say, my name is Harry, and I've had Jim now probably at least maybe going on 5 years. I was in the class for about 3 years, and then I stopped coming because I really got involved with the media department. And now I'm back, and you know, I've never learned as much from any other classes that I've taken here. Even I've taken classes at the seminary also, but I've learned more from Jim. And what he's going to do, he's going to teach the Bible. And that's what's important. You're going to actually learn the Bible, because when they go translate it into English, they left out so much. I mean, the words, you're going to actually learn the meaning of the words when you go to Hebrew and Greek. Okay? So like you say, at first it might be kind of over your head, but just stick with it. And you will, you're going to learn. And I mean, I've seen Cindy, she's taken off. She's learned quite a bit. Abe, and I've watched them grow also. So I mean, but it's if you want to know exactly what the Bible is saying, you need to stay with this class. And like I said, Jim, he's the type that he wants you to know the truth. Okay? And I really appreciate. And he works hard, and I mean, he studies, and he really prepares for these classes, and he wants to put it out here so that we can learn. So please stick with it, okay?
Brother Don, you want to say something?
I can say just, I don't read it yet, but the Greek has really come alive to me. We've actually, that's one of my New Year's resolutions, to be able to read it this year. But it's crazy how the word translated properly changes everything. And just in one verse alone, you can completely dispute the whole Jehovah's Witness belief in one verse of the Bible when it's translated right. So it really just kind of threw me for a loop, and this man is just unbelievably full of knowledge, and I take everything he's got, because he's just so full of knowledge. You're going to learn so much. But just don't, we had a friend come with us the first night, and she left her book sitting here. Never came back. She was afraid. And I had some doubts, but I got what he said about the Bible, and it made me excited. So that's what brought me back, not the learning the language, because I still look at Hebrew and it looks like Hebrew. But just all I can say is listen to what he's saying about the Word, because it's eye-opening what we don't know from the English translation.
Well, the Bible is exciting. Let's have a word of prayer, and we're going to do it. All right? Brother Don, would you lead us in prayer, please, brother?
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for bringing us back here to share in the teaching of your Word, Lord. And we just ask that you just fill each and every one of us with the Spirit, Lord, tonight to help us to understand what your Word does say, Lord. And just help Brother Jim in bringing it to us the way you would want, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. I've told my classes that you stick in the classes for 3 years, that you'll learn how to read Greek or Hebrew. And you won't know how it happened. You don't have to study it all. Just come to class, we'll read it, and you will absorb it. And I guarantee you'll do that. After 3 years, my wife, she took my Greek class, And about 3 years later, she came to class one night and she said, "I can read this." She didn't say, "Oh, I guarantee you." She said, "I can read this. Can I read this class? Can I read this verse?" And she read it, and she can read this really well. She's still working on Hebrew. Hebrew is a little tougher. It's backwards and upside down. But it's attainable. All right, it's obtainable. I don't have enough books for you right now for everybody. I want each and one of you to have a book. The different studies that I've done are on this table. If you're interested in any of them, I've got studies on the cults and the parables. Nearly every book in the New Testament, they're all available on CD. You can listen to them on the website. All of the interlinears are there. They're very inexpensive. Anyway, they're available if you want to stay after the class and look at them. I don't want to spend too much more time on that because we want to go into God's Word. All right? And we're on 2316. If you don't have, you can kind of share your book. If you go into 23, this is volume 2. We're way over here. We're almost at the end of this one. This goes where it says 2316.
One thing,
2360.
Hebrews go
What?
Is that one right over your head?
Me'od
Okay.
and
Right then.
Kahal.
Okay.
All right. These are equivalent to the Greek here.
Okay. Let's see.
Kahal is the equivalent of ecclesia, and Me'od is the equivalent of synagogue, synagogue. All right. We might get to there tonight. I don't know. I'm aiming. Cindy always wants me to do the whole class in one class. All right? Is that right? Next week, I hope that you have Volume 3. We're going to try to do some Volume 1s. You can get online. You can study the first 41 classes of Genesis. And then you can go to the second. And that's the one that we have right now. This is Volume 2. Volume 3, my wife is working on over there for me, writing some cross-references in that for me right now. And I'm going to bring it tomorrow or the next day, and we're going to copy it, and you will have one of those in your hand. All right? There's a Greek grammar on the table there that I wrote with the history of the Bible in there, and the history of the Greek language also. And as we go here, every now and then I'll say the Hebrew alphabet. Okay? And we'll do that now and then. We're not going to do it tonight, but we're just going to study the Bible because we don't have a lot of time left. But you will learn. You'll be surprised what you're going to absorb anyway. Wayishma. All right? Avraham. Now that's the way you really say Abraham is Avraham. Okay? And you kind of roll your R in there like Hispanic. Avraham. All right? And then El, Ephron. Wayishkal, Avraham, Li Ephron, Et, Hakaseth, Asher, Deber, Be-Azene, Bene, Et, Arba, Miot, Shigol, Kesef, Kor, and then Las, Saw, Church. Now I wrote how you have to read my writing. I'm going to tell you the truth.
You'll get used to it.
You'll get used to my handwriting. And you'll find out that my Greek and Hebrew are better than the Greek and Hebrew text because you'll be able to tell one letter from the other. Am I telling them right, Cindy?
Oh, yeah. I can't read.
You can't read Greek text and Hebrew text, but you can read my Hebrew and my Greek. Because it's written in such a way as you can tell one letter from the other. The Hebrew, especially, is so poor in their printing, you can't tell one letter from another. Okay? You'll be able to tell them because I do weird little things to them. You can't tell whether it's a cough or what it is, or a pay or whatever. But that there is a B. That's a B. All right? And Hebrew is really neat. That's an Aleph. It basically doesn't have a sound, but it'll have something underneath that tells you how to say it. This word right here is where we get our word Father from. All right? The Greek word for Father is Abba. Abba. Or Abba. All right? Now, the Hebrews said that the first thing that a child would do was call his name, his father's name, Abba, 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 Abba. He was calling for Daddy. Okay? Now, the Hebrew, each letter has a symbol for it, okay? All right? And the Aleph is, what do you remember what the symbol, what that is? It's an ox head. And it means the head or something, okay? The symbol like this, old symbol. All right? The Hebrew old symbols like that, that's like off, a head. All right? Now, what is the word for house in Hebrew? Bet. All right? The father is the head of the house. That's Abba. Okay? The father is the head of the house. All right? So there you got a whole Hebrew word tonight. Okay? Let's go back and look at a little bit more. Wayishma. Wayishma. Okay? Now there are names in the Bible. Every name in the Bible means something. The first 10 names in the Bible are the whole inspired history of salvation. The first 10 names. You know, from Adam through Noah. The first 10 names in the Bible, you will have the whole history of salvation. It tells you everything about it. The first Adam and the second Adam. And then Noah, the last name, the 10th name, it means peace and safety. Through Christ we will have peace and safety and salvation and forever be with Him. All right? And every one of them, if you go on to the website, you look on the names of God there. If you go to discovertheword.com, push on the names of God, you'll see the names of God there. And then on the second website, if you go over there, you'll go over there and it says the 10 inspired names. You can go on there and you can have the whole written out so you can have it in your hands. It'll just print it out in PDF file. All right? Now, what name in the Bible meant to listen? Huh? What name in the Bible meant to listen? That's the root of this word right here. Simon. Thank you, Marilyn. You got an A+ for the class tonight. Simon. It comes from Shimeon, Simon or Simeon. All right, that's the same name. Now, in the Old Testament, the names are not the same in the Old Testament as they are in the New Testament. And the King James just slaughtered the names of the Bible. It slaughtered it. Okay? You have Elias, you have Elijah, you have whatever. Elijah is another beautiful name in the Bible. That's a beautiful name, Elijah. In the New Testament, it's called Elias and different things. Sometimes in King James, they even got the wrong prophet's name down there in the Bible. And we'll get into that in some places. But Elijah, what does Elijah mean? Elijah.
God, Jehovah.
What?
Jehovah
God.
God.
Jehovah is God. God is God or Jehovah is God. That's what Elijah means. Okay? And he listened. In this word right here, it tells you it's third person masculine singular. So it's he listened. And he listened, call, stem, and while consecutive imperfect. Now, I don't want to scare you with all those terms, okay? But what it really means here, and the little funny looking thing on the front of it, that's a conjunction in Hebrew, and it's and. On page 253, you'll see that down there. If you go to Brown, Driver, and Briggs, this Hebrew lexicon, you can go and look on page 253, and you will see that wow in there. You can see it for yourself, and you can read all about it. Now, in that interlinear that I have written, the page numbers are down there, so you can go look at it for yourself. You just get there it is, right there. All right, you can go look at it and tell about every place that. We'll put that on camera so you can see it out there also. You can see all of that. Brown, Driver, and Briggs is available all over the place. And then here is Davidson's Analytical Hebrew and Chaldee Lexicon. Tell us the difference between an analytical lexicon and a lexicon. Girls and boys? What?
One analyzes it, and one,
Gives you parts of speech.
Cindy.
One breaks it down in parts of
One,
speech.
this one breaks down every word in the Hebrew Bible and tells you what part it plays. This book is a lexicon here. This lexicon tells you the history of the root of the word. This one tells you what part it plays in the Bible. And also, when you look at what I've written down here, I will break it down and tell you how every word is used. You know who's speaking and you know who he's speaking to. Greek is even tremendously more definite than Hebrew. Okay? Greek, what would be an and in Greek? Kai. Right. So we know that. Kai. That's a conjunction. This is a conjunction right there with one letter in Hebrew. In Greek, there are masculine, singular, masculine, neuter, and feminine definite articles. Okay? In Greek, you just got one, or in Hebrew, you just have one definite article. You don't have to worry about it. That's right there. That's it. Ha. Ha. Okay? In Greek, it's ho, a, or to. Masculine, feminine, or neuter. And a definite article is like a pointing arrow. So when you see a definite article in front of a word, it means that's very important afterwards. Okay? Everything afterwards is very, very important. It's like a sign. Say, this way. Okay? That way. Something splitting. It's very important. In John 1 and 1, as you have gone into John 1 and 1, if you learn John 1 and 1, John 1:14, John 1:18, you have done away with all Jehovah's Witnesses theology. It's over with. It's finished. There's nothing left of them. You thrashed them. If you learned it from the original language. There is no doubt in Greek and Hebrew. All right, what it says. And listened and kept on listening. And listened and kept on listening. Third person masculine singular. Now if you look down there, it says page 1033 and page 1570, okay? It'll say P 1033 and 1570 right down below that. That's, if you go into Brown, Driver, and Briggs, it's the first one. And then Kohler and Baumgartner is the second number. All right? And listen, Abraham. All right, Abraham. You've heard about Abraham and Abram and all that? All right. His name was Abram to begin with, wasn't it? What does Abram mean? No, from the first part of it here, you figured out that, haven't you? That's father right there. All right, that's father. Now, okay, now, his name meant what? Abram. Abram. That meant exalted father. Exalted father. Now, Abraham, what does that mean? Exalted father of a multitude. All right? Well, here we have Abram, so we look at it. And listened Abraham, and by the way, God renamed him, didn't he? God named a lot of people in the Bible. Aleph, Beth, Gamel, Dalet, He. All right? That's, how many letters is that? 5. The 5th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is He. Just like that. That's what God put. He is what God put in Abraham's name. Okay? That letter stands for life. And it's also, number 5 is the number of what in the Bible? The number of grace. The number of grace. There's a book written by Bullinger that says numerics in Scripture and numbers in Scripture. That is very good. I was going to bring that tonight and show that to you, Cynthia. She's our mathematician. And you know what? Numbers are very important with the Bible. God created the universe with mathematics, believe it or not. You can go off on every little thing and you can see His design and everything in numbers. 7 is the number of what in the Bible? Perfection. Number 1 is the number of what? unity, of course, number of units. We could go on all through all the numbers, all right. And listened, and kept on listening Abraham unto Ephron. Ephron, all right? Ephron. And now what is Abraham doing here? What is the subject of what we were talking about? Huh? He's buying a grave, the cave of Machpelah, and I should have brought the slide of the cave of Machpelah. You can't go there anymore, but I have been to the cave of Machpelah. And those guys are really there. Abraham there, Isaac's there, Jacob's there, Sarah's there, Rebecca's there, Leah's there, maybe even Joseph. They're all there in that place, that cave, and he bought it, and this is the oldest completed, certified deed in the Bible right here. We studied about this last week also. All right? Now, over here to the left on there, you'll see 2 Samuel 14:26 and Jeremiah 32:9 and 10 and Zechariah 11 and 12. These are cross-references to this verse, okay? He listened to Abraham, and he kept on weighing out Abraham to Ephron. All right? And look at that lameth in front of Ephron right there. The lameth, that's a preposition. All right? Now in Greek, you want to say to something. Put this out of the way here. Greek is a lot more letters to everything. That's pros. That means to. All right? In Greek. That means to. When you're pro something in America, you're pro. You know what that means. So that's to. All right? In Hebrew, it is this little letter. Lameth. Page 515. I don't know if it's written down or not, but you can look that one up in Brown, Driver, and Briggs, and you will see all about lameth. That means to. All right? The preposition, it is a preposition also. By the way, people come to my class and say, I don't even know English. How can I learn Greek? Well, you're going to learn English with it. You'll never learn English until you learn a foreign language anyway. And when you see this in front of a word, what does that mean? Faith. That's in, or to, or for sometimes. All right? Faith, that's a preposition also. And in Greek, it looks like that. In. All right? Page 137. If you want to look that one up in the analytical. Our English in is exactly come from Greek. There is so much English. All the medical terms come from Greek. All right? All the scientific terms and medical terms come from Greek. All right, where do the legal terms come from? Latin. Latin. All right. Let's go on a little further now. And weighed Abraham to Abraham, et. See that word et there? Et, it looks like this. That's what it looks like, right there. That's a sign of the direct object. You don't translate it, you just understand what it means. Now in Greek, what is the term? Cindy? Ace. Like that. Would you tell me the grammatical rule for that? He's only been here for a little while.
Really?
Yes.
Extent or limitation of a thought or verbal action.
Extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. In other words, some action's going there. Tremendous action is going right there. That's a sign of the direct object. All right? So something's going there. What's going in his way? Money. He's going to transfer money to him because he wants this cave for his wife. And when you say that somebody died back then, what is the term for die? It's meos. But what? What does it mean? When you die, what does it mean? A lot of people were buried while they were still alive, weren't they? The one's dying, he said, this is the one that's dying and staying dead. I don't want them to a coma, but they didn't move after that. They watched them for a long time, usually 2 or 3 days. They hung around the grave to make sure that they were dead. Because sometimes it would stand up. Okay? All right. And he weighed the money. He weighed the money of the silver, which deber. He had spoken. Now look at that word deber there. This is a very beautiful word. All right? Let's look at that word debar. Or debar. This we can get over in the New Testament. You just chase from the Old Testament to the New Testament constantly when you're studying Greek and Hebrew. Back and forth. All right? Debar. Debar. That's it. What's the New Testament word? Logos. Okay? What's so important about that? Huh? Debar. Debar, first of all, what does debar mean? Tell me the different meanings for debar.
The name?
Huh?
The name?
No.
That's Havar.
Well, yeah, Hashem, but it's debar, but we're going down to the root now. We're not going to go on any further. We're just going to start out with the root, the debar. How many of you got a fence around your yard? Anybody? Young lady, you got a fence? You have fence posts?
Yeah.
Okay. Those fence posts are set in a line. Okay? That means that could be a debar. It's set in a line. How many of you ever seen a parade of people? That's a debar, parade. How many of you ever seen a line of skirmish? You know, they're playing football or something right now, aren't they? Don't they have something out there where they stand people up against each other? That's a debar. That's a line of skirmish, okay? And when you have soldiers on the field, you have battles, and they lined up with each other, against each other. That's a debar. And also, words on the paper. A legal document is a debar. It's a legal document. Now let's go back in history for just a little bit. We'll give you a little bit of evidence and the reason to study this, okay? Jehovah's Witnesses have a real problem with John 1 and 1, don't they? And they try to make all their doctrine stand on that, all right? Let's look at it just for a minute, all right? It's in arche ein hologos. In beginning, ein means what? Remember what ein? Randall, you know what ein means? Remember Randall? Ein. Third person singular and perfect indicative active comes from ein. Okay. All right. Ein. All right. It really means kept on being forever. All right. Now in Genesis, the first verse, it says Barashith bara Elohim et Hashemayim ve'ha'aretz. All right. In beginnings, that's plural. In one of the beginnings, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay? But in John 1 and 1, it says, in beginning, locative, singular, feminine, and that's, you can't go back any further than that. It's yonder, there. Look at this chart over here. It's way back in eternity, before anything else was. Back in the beginning of the beginnings of the beginnings, before God created anything. Huh? Yeah.
Infinity is not a fact.
It's like a circle. Just keep on going. Way back yonder, before there was anything else, existed God, Jehovah. Okay? That word devar there, that's a very important word. It means the spoken word. It can mean a document or whatever. John 1 and 1. Let's look at it. I could write it up here on the board with all that, but I won't take that much time tonight. In beginning, kept on being hologos. Ho, nominative, singular, masculine, definite article. The Word. Nominative, singular, masculine. In Greek, there are 8 cases: nominative, genitive, locative, instrumental, dative, accusative, and vocative. In English, we got subject and object. Greek, you got 8 cases. Okay? Tells you every part of it. Here, it's the case of the subject. In the beginning, kept on being hologos. Now, John, when he wrote that John 1 and 1 right there, are you over there, young lady? John 1 and 1. When he wrote that, that's what you call a Hebraism. That's not a Greek idiom there, it's a Hebraism. What's a Hebraism? You know what a Hebraism is? Yeah?
Common use.
The origin of this idea came from Hebrew, not Greek. All right? The Hebrew is now the word devar. Now, Brother Brett, here we are. Okay? Now, when a Hebrew, after they received the law of Moses, they came to the word Jehovah. Now, we don't know how to say Jehovah anyway. All right, there it is, Jehovah. If I tried to say that, I would think, because it was not pointed, it was never spoken, so we don't know how to say it. But if I really tried to say it, without any vowels or anything, it would be something like this. It start out with a yo, and then go yo, and out goes your breath. The living one. Yo. Jehovah means what? It comes from Hayah, a verb. All right. What does Hayah mean?
Became.
What?
Became.
Hayah. It means became. What does Jehovah mean? The one who shall become. The one who shall become. The becoming one. Right? This is the personal name of God. Jehovah is. But when the Lord gave the law of Moses to Moses, it says, "You shall not use the Lord thy God's name in vain." This is his personal name. So if thou shalt not use the Lord thy God's name in vain. So when they came to the name of God, they would refer to him as Ha-the-bar, the word. All right? Now are you getting the gist? Or Hashem, the name. Now today, a Jew will not speak that name. They don't know how to speak that name. What, Brother Roger, what would they say when they come to the name Jehovah? Huh?
Adonai.
Adonai. Adonai means Lord of Lords. All right? But they will not pronounce his name. First of all, they don't know how to pronounce it. And when we, as English scholars and English people, try to say that's Jehovah, we're fools. We don't know how to say that name, but we know who it is. That's the eternal one. That's the one who shall become. All right? Now let's look at John 1:1 again. Let's look at it. Just a little bit. This is Devar here. Okay? Show you the value of the language. In beginning, I'm going to just give you a translation. In beginning kept on being the whole Logos, the Jehovah. That's who it is. We're talking about Jehovah. This is not anything but Jehovah. In beginning kept on being the Jehovah, and then it says Kai Ho Logos. Again, it'll say, if you've got your interlinear, it'll say Kai Ho Logos and the Word, the same thing, and it's Ho Logos again. It's the subject. Ho Logos, that's nominative, singular, masculine. And the Logos kept on being, all right, Ein, Pros, Ton, Theo. Pros, Ton, Theo. All right? Pros, that's the preposition I told you about a while ago. All right? Pros, Ton, Theo. Like that. I'll get a better marker here. That one doesn't work. Pros, Ton, Theo. Now this is the, we know that this is the accusative. Pros, Ton, Theo. Against God or toward God. All right? And the word, Ein, kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead. That's how you translate that. Jehovah kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead. Did Jesus ever cease being God when he was on earth? Never. He never ceased being God. Okay? Never. He was always God. Now, brother, I'll tell you books to read every now and then. There's a book called Chemistry of Blood by M.R. DeHaan. Not one drop of the human race's blood was in Jesus. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. Not one drop of it. I told a doctor, and I had about 5 or 6 doctors in my class one time, and one of them was really a brilliant, Dr. Susan Hume. And I told her one time, I said, in the human race, every child that is born infected with Adam's blood because it has a father. The blood comes from the father. It does not come from the mother. When Jesus was born, he did not have any of his mother's blood in him at all. Only God. And therefore he could be born without sin. Because we're infected, as in Adam, all die in the blood. I've got a little sermon I'm going to do on blood here pretty soon. Prepare it. All right? Okay.
Waited just for you.
Okay.
I waited for him one time. See? I had to. The blood. He's kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead. And then it says, and you can do this either way, Kai, Ho, Logos, Aim, Theos. Now here we have an omicron signal on the end and an omicron signal on the end. And over here we have a nominative singular masculine definite article. And this is all nominative singular and masculine. Here's a linking verb which is kept on being, and then nominative singular masculine here. And what is this little part of speech called there? It's really weird. That's a predicate nominative. Unusual thing, but you see it in the Bible. That means that the same person on this front of the this linking verb right here, this person is this person. One and the same. Number, gender, and case. Nominative, singular, masculine, definite article. This is the subject. And then on this side of it, it's nominative, singular, masculine. This guy here is this guy over here, without doubt. And mathematically, there would be an equal sign right there. 1 equals 1. Simple as that. All right. 1 equals 1. In the Jehovah's Witnesses doctrine and theology, it says, and the Word was a God. That's wrong. This doesn't have a definite article over here, but it can have. It's implied. It's what's called practical substantive. And the Word kept on being the God. The Jehovah kept on being God. Who's the Jehovah? That's Jesus. Now John 1:14. Look at that verse. Yes, Brother Harry.
You know, with the Jehovah's Witness, they added A to that.
Yeah, A. And there's no indefinite article in Greek, by the way. There is no A in Greek. There isn't an A. No indefinite article. But they like to put it in there because they want to change the theology of the Bible. Now let's go to John 1:14. And look at that. Which one of you young ladies, do you have that right there, young? John 1:14, are you there? Oh, I can't remember your name. What is it? Linda? Glenda. Okay, Glenda, could you read that, John 1:14 for me?
And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld His glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
Okay, now, I told you a little bit about that. We only started studying part of a verse tonight, because I had to get you guys acquainted with Hebrew and Greek a little bit, okay? Kahologos arxageniko, that's what it starts out. And the Word. Who's the Word then? Jehovah. That's Jehovah. That's the Word, the Devar. Where we are here in this one. This is Devar. And Jehovah, flesh, sarx. In Latin is carne, in Spanish is carne. All right? All right? Do you get that one? All right? Sarx, flesh. What is in Hebrew? Basar. Basar. All right? And the Word, and Jehovah, flesh, He became. Isn't that beautiful? It's third person singular, aorist tense, which is punctiliar action, indicative, and middle voice. And Jehovah became flesh for Himself. He led Himself into flesh. And we beheld Him. Could you read that one more time, young lady?
And the Word was made flesh.
All right, the Word made Himself flesh.
And dwelt among us.
And He dwelt among us.
And we beheld His glory.
Now, word dwelled there means pitched His tent. The tabernacle right here, God built this tabernacle because He said that He wanted to what with these people? Dwell. Guess what? That's the word skene there. That's the word tabernacle right there. And He tabernacled or dwelt among us. He wanted to be among us. And what else did we see there?
The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
All right, full of grace and full of truth. Also, now go down to John 1:18. We just going to blow away Jehovah's Witnesses tonight. If they're out there listening, we got them. We got lots of hate mail from Jehovah's Witnesses. I've had calls from Watchtower. They know who I am. All right, they don't like me. When my students with the door, they go out there looking for the Watchtower. You know, they go out there looking for them. Come here, I got something to tell you. All right, John 1:18. That's beautiful also. Someone read that one for me. Are you there, young lady?
No man has seen God at any time.
No man has seen God at any time.
The only begotten Son.
No, that's a little bit wrong. All right, what does it say there literally? The only begotten what?
God.
What?
The only begotten God.
The only begotten God. God begets God, by the way. When God has a child, it's God. Okay? All right, when God has a child, He's God. The only begotten God, what's it say?
Which is in the bosom of the Father.
The one being constantly inseparable from the Father.
He has to save him.
He has led Himself out. Little voice again, aorist tense. Jehovah led Himself out of eternity into space and time and flesh. Isn't that beautiful? Now, isn't that worth studying the languages? When you see this, you don't have any doubt who Jesus is and who Jehovah is. By the way, in the Old Testament, what was Jesus' name in the Old Testament? Yahshua. All right, Yahshua in the Old Testament. Yahshua. That means Jehovah or Joshua doesn't. In the New Testament, it shouldn't be Yahshua. We call him Jesus in the New Testament, but it's Yahshua. And what does Yahshua mean? What does Yahshua mean?
Saves.
Jehovah saves. Who does the saving? Jehovah does the saving. Let's go on a little bit further. We might get through this verse tonight, Cynthia.
You're going to finish. You got to get going.
All right, we're going to do it. Ba'azene. He has spoken in the ears of the sons of Heth. He has spoken in the ears of the sons Beneh, the sons of Heth. The sons of Heth. Is it working at all, brother?
Ooh, it stopped.
It stopped. A little rascal. Just leave it be. The sons of Heth. Who are these Heth? Sons of Heth. Who are they? The Hittites. All right. Now, who were these Hittites? Where was this area where the Hittites lived? Where was the area where the Hittites lived? The Hittites. Right around the cave of Machpelah. Right around Hebron, okay? And who were the biggest people in the whole land? Who scared the socks off of the Israelites when they went into the promised land?
Persians?
Who? The sons of Heth. Because there were a lot of Nephilim in them. Nephilim. Nephilim among them. What does Nephilim mean?
Fallen ones?
Fallen ones. All right. Nephilim means fallen ones. There were a bunch of Nephilim among them, and some of them dudes were 9 foot tall. The rabbis say they were hybrids of angels and women. All right? And Genesis, the 6th chapter, tells us about that also. These are great big rascals. Great big people. Goliath had either there was 5 of them. Did you know that? 5 of those great big Nephilim. The Goliath was a Nephilim that David killed, and he took 5 stones from the little crook, didn't he? From the little brook. He took 5 stones. He's going to kill all of them. Yes.
Were there giants 2 different times in the Bible?
Yeah. Well, we don't need to go into all of that, but they were. There's a lot of times that they were in there. They were before the flood and after the flood too. Many people think that the flood was brought because of to kill this race of rascals out, because they were eating human beings. If you read the book of Enoch, if you go read the book of Enoch, you'll find out that all these ideas about vampires and everything like that, these were Nephilim. They were bad. They were blood drinkers. No, these were the bad people. Okay. All right, the sons of Heth, and then it says 400 shekels of silver, passing to the merchant. All right, and they also had in all of this, they had witnesses there, and every time somebody came into the city, in the gates of the city, Hebron, by the way, is one of the oldest cities in the world. All right, one of the oldest unwalled cities in the world. There are 3 cities that are very, very old. The book of the city of Hebron, the city of Jericho is the oldest occupied city in the world. Not continually occupied, but that one goes back to unknown. The archaeologists say it goes back 10,000 years, which man wasn't here 10,000 years ago, okay? But they say that the archaeological finds, it goes back to Adam, I can tell you that much. Jericho goes way, way back. And then the city of Damascus is the oldest walled city continuously occupied. And then Acre, all right, not too far from Nazareth. 23 and 17. Vayakam, Sedeh, Ephron, Asher, Bama Macphilah, Asher, Lephaneh, Mamre, Hasedeh, Wehamer Arah, Asher, Bo, we call Ha'etz, Asher, Ba-Sedeh, Asher, Bikol, Quib, Vu-Lo, and then Saviv. And was confirmed, third person master, senior cow, while consecutive, imperfect, the field. Now he bought a cleared field and the cave. The cave is still there today. You can see the mouth of the cave. Above that cave, there is a church that was built there by Herod. There was a temple at that time. Herod the Great built a Jewish temple over the cave of Machpelah to honor the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their wives. Okay, and above their bodies in that church house that's there today, or mosque, or whatever you want to call it, there are coffins above there, and you can go in there and say, this is Isaac, and this is Rebecca, and this is Abraham, and Jacob, and all that. You can see where they're right down below in the cave is where they're buried. All right, this is where it is. Okay? And was confirmed the field of Ephron, all right, which in Machpelah, what does Machpelah mean?
With a mix, so it's got to be
Machpelah. What does Machpelah mean? It comes from Hebrew now.
Sounds like it should be on McDonald's.
Remember? Double mouth. It's a double mouth cave. It's a big cave. It's a double mouth cave. A big mouth. Double mouth cave. Which to face, all right, to the face of Mamre. In other words, it faces Mamre. All right? It faces Mamre. And then Hasadeh, the field or the prairie, and the cave which in it, and all the trees which in field, which in all the border and round about it. In other words, Abraham bought all the field, the cleared field, and he bought all the trees. Trees are valuable too, aren't they? Trees are valuable. All right. 23:18. We're moving along so quickly here. It says, Leal Verham, Ni Miknah, Le'ene, B'nai, Et, Bikol, Gai, Sa'ar, Yerod. All right. To Abraham, see that little preposition in the front? Little preposition in the front there. I think I wrote down the wrong thing. It's supposed to be 515 and 508 and Kohler and Baumgartner. That's what I've got down there. 515 and Brown, Driver, and Briggs. To Abraham. See that page 4 down there? That's where you look up Abraham's name is on page 4 in Brown, Driver, and Briggs. And then for Limiknah, for a purchase, before the eyes. All right. Now they had to have witnesses. In every city back there, when you went into the city, there was the gates. Remember old Lot? Lot? Old Lot? All right. Lot. Well, in the city, they usually have a city gate. And inside that gate were the law offices or the courthouse. And all of the fathers of the city, all the city dads, would be there. And when you wanted to make a contract or whatever, you had to go in here and go to court in the city, in the gates, in between the gates of the city. And that's where Abraham was, in the city gate here. This is a legal transaction. This would be a legal document even in the world today. All right? 23:17. 18? All right, then okay. 18. All right. Lee Abraham, Lee Misnah, and to Abraham for a purchase before the eyes. This was, they had to have legal witnesses. And today, when you make a document or make some legal contract, you publish it in the newspaper. This was the newspaper in those days. Okay. For the sons, B'nai. B'nai means what? B'nai. Sons and daughter. It comes from the same word, B'nai. All right. What does B'nai mean? Ben. When you see Ben on the front of a name like Benjamin, son of the right hand, Benjamin, son of the right hand, that's what Benjamin means. But Ben means what? In Hebrew. What? According to a pattern. When you have a child, it's according to a pattern. All right? They do look like you, don't they? Sometimes. They do look like you. All right? According to a pattern. All right? In the eyes of the sons, according to the pattern of Heth. With all, or in all the ones entering the gate of this city. So this is a courthouse. This is a legal, this is a courthouse of Hebrew. So everybody came in the city. They'd say, hey, Abraham just bought this land over here. This is going to be Abraham's land. 23:19. We tare Ken Kabar Abraham Et Sarah Ishto El Mi Ara Sede Ha Mekhilah Al Panay Mamre He Hebron Be'aretz Canaan. And afterward, thus buried, third person masculine is a singular, buried, this is completely buried, had buried Abraham, et Sarah. What does Sarah mean? Comes from what root? What? It means to wrestle and be contentious. That's what Sarah means, to wrestle and be contentious. Now, Sarah's name, she had an H, a Het, added to her name also. By grace, she had a child, didn't she? When she was almost 100 years old, she had a child. There are women in modern days that have had children. My great-great-great-grandmother had 3 children after she was 50 years old. She was born in 1797, and my great-great-grandfather was born in April of 1848. And then she had 2 children after that. That was pretty unusual back then, those days especially. But Sarah was almost 100 years old when she had this child. God put life into her when she had this child, okay? Sarah means, the word Sarah, which also means prince. And her, it would be princess, wouldn't it? Prince. All right. Prince does what? Marilyn was talking today to me about, she said, boy, Europe was nothing but a bunch of bloodthirsty, murdering princes, weren't they? Going and killing each other from one end to the other, chasing each other back and forth. That's what a prince was. He was a fighter. He was a fighter. He was the head of an army. Alexander the Great in 14 years just went conquering to conquer, didn't he? Sarah, Ishto. All right. Ishto comes from Isha. Isha means what? It means out of man. Isha means out of man. Ish is man. All right, let's think about that. Ish means man. All right, it means feminine man. I mean, Ish means masculine man, and Isha means feminine man, feminine mankind. All right. God took Adam and hypnotized him. That's what it literally said. It's hypnose in the Septuagint. God said He put Adam to sleep. He put him into a deep hypnotic trance. We know that that hypnotism has been used in operations a long time ago. Where do you think they got the idea? back there in the garden. Man was a whole lot smarter a long time ago than he is today. If we didn't have libraries and books, we'd have to learn everything over in every generation, wouldn't we? Have to learn it all over again if we didn't have a library to go back and learn. Okay? God put Adam into a deep hypnotic trance in hypnosis. And it says that he took from his sides, plural, didn't say rib, by the way. Sides, plural. He took from his sides, he took flesh, bone, and blood. He took her and he formed her into Isha, which means out of man. Woman means what? Literally. Analytically, out of man. Just exactly like it does in Hebrew. All right? Out of man. And Sarah, his wife, unto a cave, unto the Merah. All right? Unto the cave, the field of Makpelah. All Panay, in the face of Mamre, in Hebron, the land, and was confirmed the field and the cave which in it to Abraham for a possession burial from the sons of Heth. 23 and 20. We Agam, Hasadah, we Ha Merah, Asher, Bol, Li Abraham, Li Ahazoth, Quiver, Mi'eth, Benay, Heth. Look at the word quiver there. Now that's another very, very important word. Quiver. Tell us about quiver, Susie. Can you tell us anything about quiver? Quiver. That's how it's spelled in English, all right? What about a quiver? We just found out that Abraham, Brother Randall, do you know what a quiver is? You can dig a quiver. You can dig or carve a quiver. You can do this. You can dig it or carve it. How about Sheol? Here we have another Jehovah's Witness doctrine. And Seventh-day Adventist and a bunch of stuff. All right. Sheol is the place of departed spirits. Sheol is the place asked about. It comes from the word name Saul, comes from Sheol, which means he was asked for, wasn't he? And God gave them the man they asked for, and they were unhappy with him. Sheol. The place asked about, that is the Hades. In Greek, it's Hades. All right? In Hebrew, it's Sheol. Quiver is a grave. That's menemion in Greek. And quiver, you can dig a quiver, but you cannot dig a Sheol. And of course, the Jehovah's Witnesses try to say the grave and Sheol are the same. They are not. Sheol is a place of departed spirits where things are existing right now. People are conscious in Sheol. In quiver, they're quiet. Graveyards are pretty quiet, aren't they? 23 and verse 20. Oh, 24. 24. Yeah. 24. We Abraham. Zagan. Ba. Bayamim. Ha-davar. See, we don't say that word. Ha-davar. Or you can say we ha-davar. Barak. Et. Abraham. Bakol. All right. And Abraham became old. The word there in Greek is geriatric. That's where we get the word geriatric, all right? Zokan here is what it is. Third person masculine singular, how perfect. He had become old. And advanced. Be-yamim, in days. By the way, what is a day? What is the word for day in Hebrew? Yom. All right? Yom. And that's a 24-hour day. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Abraham lived a lot of 24-hour days. And the 6 days of reconstruction of the earth in the book of Genesis are 24-hour days. That's days. It's not decades or anything. Now, how old the earth is, I do not know. It could be millions and millions and millions of years old. It says, because it says in Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, finished them. And then it says, and the earth, she became formless. Something happened to her. All right? So we don't know how old it is, but the earth was reconstructed, restored in 6 days. That's where we have the reconstruction of the earth. And if you'll find out where it says, and God caused the ground to sprout forth, the seeds were already in the ground. They sprouted again. All right? That's where we get all the fossil fuel and all that stuff, the dinosaurs and everything else were in that age beyond we know anything about it, eternity past. And who was over that? Who was the administrator of the kingdom of all of the heavens and the earth at that time? Who was the original? Who? Who was the original? Who was? Lucifer. Lucifer means light carrier. Lucifer became Satan, didn't he? And Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28. If you look at this little map up here on the wall, I have some of these. You'll see Satan's path, Isaiah 14, 12 through 15, Ezekiel 28, 18, and 19. You'll see his path. God didn't create the earth to be formless and void. Now, the Hebrew Bible now, since they believe in evolution, it said God created the earth, or began to create the heavens and the earth. But it doesn't say that in Hebrew. In literal Hebrew, it said, and God had created and completely finished the heavens and the earth. First of all, it says, Barashi bara. Bara means that's perfect tense. He had created and finished. Elohim. Et Hashemayim. And Et Hashemayim means what? Sign of direct object. The whole universe. The whole universe. And not only did that, before he created anything, any physical thing in the universe, what did he have to create? The space to put it in. And then he slung all of it out there in the universe. And then the last thing that he put in the universe was what? We Haaretz. And then he took the earth and placed it exactly where it was supposed to be in the universe. All right? And then it says, we Haaretz, and the earth, Hatya Tuhu Wabohu, and the earth she became formless and void. And there's where we have the Spirit of God out and suffering and mourning over the faces of the deep. And that's where he began then, in those 6 days, to put the earth back together. And on the 6th day, what did he do? Huh? The 6th day. Six. The number 6 in the Bible. 6 is the number for man. On the 6th day he created man, and man took the place of Lucifer. He became the administrator of God's kingdom on the earth. All right. Days. Advanced in many days. Yom. See that word yim? Vayamim, and that means days. All right? The word Elohim, by the way, the name for God, Elohim, that means El, comes from El Hayim, the Creator God, the triune Creator God. Now, there aren't 3 gods, by the way. He's a triune God. Triune. He's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. When Jesus Christ was hanging on the cross of Calvary, the Father was tasting it, and the Son was tasting it too. Because that's the physical form of God right there. Remember what John 1:1 said? He never ceased being God. If you've got God, you've got God. The Father and the Spirit of God tasted and felt and experienced death with the physical Son. All right? And then it says, and Jehovah, and Hadavar, or Hashem, or Adonai, he blessed Baruch. Third person masculine singular, PL. PL Sam means what in Hebrew? Intense. He intensely blessed him, having intensely blessed. That's what it literally says. Having intensely blessed Abraham in all, in every way. Genesis 18 and verse 11, and 12 and 2, and 13 and verse 2, and 24, 35, and Galatians 3 and 9. Let's go to Galatians 3 and 9 and look at Galatians 3 and 9 real quick. Let's wander over in the New Testament just a little bit as we teach the Old Testament. All right, who's over there in Galatians 3 and 9? Get one of these girls over here. Young lady on that end of the table, are you there? Galatians 3 and 9, what's it say over there?
So then, those who are of faith are blessed with Abraham the believer.
All right. Now, we are descendants of Abraham by faith, aren't we? Some of us are descendants of Abraham by genetics. I did a DNA, and I actually go back there to them. I'm mostly Indian, but I got a little bit of Hebrew blood in me, too, back yonder. And I am a physical son of Abraham, but I am a spiritual son of Abraham. That's most important. He blessed him. And then when he told Abraham, he said, look at the sands of the seashore. And the sands of the seashore, by the way, what it literally says is the mouth of the sea. The mouth of the sea. The lip of the sea. The mouth. Along this mouth of the sea, you go over there at Pismo Beach. There's a lot of sand over there. Anybody ever been there? Oh, you guys been to Pismo Beach? Brother Abe, you been to Pismo Beach? Yeah, okay. There's a lot of sand over there on Pismo Beach, isn't there? Have you ever tried to count that? It's very hard to do. When Abraham looked at the sand on the seashore, over the mouth or the lip of the sea, that's his physical seed. That's his seed that he would have children, literally his children, his zerah, his seed. Zerah in Hebrew, what is a Greek word for seed? Sperma. We get our word sperm from it, all right? Spermatos, all right? That's what it is in Greek. His literal seed, from his literal sperm, he would have people as many as the sands on the seashore. And then when he looked up to the heavens, how many of you ever tried to count all the stars in the heavens? There's so many stars out there we can't count them. But that's his spiritual seed. That's his spiritual seed, the stars of heaven. The earthly seed is his physical seed, and the stars of heaven is his spiritual seed, and we are spiritual seed of Abraham. All right? Spiritual seed in Galatians 24 and verse 2. We'll stop right there when we do this one. We'll look at this one a little bit. Wyomer. Now, see, now, where's your little girl tonight? Now, she likes that word, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Wyomer. That makes her laugh, she says. Wyomer Avraham El Abdo Zigon Beto Ha Moshel Biko Asher Lo Sem Nah Yadika Tashat Yirike. All right, this is really weird. This is really a weird practice that we would not accept today at all. Okay? Yeah, you would be sued for doing this today. You would be in jail. All right? This would put you in jail today. All right, now Eliezer, by the way, is who this servant is. Eliezer. This was before Abraham had any children, he was going to give everything he had to Eliezer. All right? And Eliezer is a type of John the Baptist in the New Testament. He is a friend of the bridegroom. He goes out and he calls and gets the bride and brings him like John the Baptist did. John the Baptist presented the bride. He went out and he baptized all of the ones that would be members of the New Testament church. And he baptized them and prepared them for the Lord. And then he called them out of the Sea of Galilee. You know when the church started? The church started around the Sea of Galilee. Right there when he called it out. The word church, ecclesia, comes from the Hebrew equivalent for the word church or assembly. Jehovah's Witnesses have got this one right. Okay, assembly hall. We have assembly halls. That's what we have. All right. A church is a place. The place. Kerk in German. It's the place. It's not the people. Kahal and ecclesia are the people, the ones called out. When Jesus went on the seashores of Galilee and started calling out these people that had been baptized and saved, all right, he called them out. And the word synagogue, that's the meeting place. It comes from synagogue, and it's moed in Hebrew. Now, most of the Jews don't even know what their own language means, do they? When they start talking about a synagogue, they say it's a full hall, but it's not. It's the people, the assembly. The people are the hall, the ecclesia. The meod is the synagogue. That's the place of gathering. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you how much Hebrew the Jews knew. when they were out there and when they started building synagogues, and, they were out away from, the land of Israel, and they started the synagogue services and establishing synagogues. They didn't call them moeds, did they? What they call them? Synagogues. Because they didn't know their own language. Even today, it carried over for that when they had forgotten their language, and they don't even know these two terms. They know them, but they don't know what they mean. The meod is the synagogue. That's the place of gathering. The kahal is the people of the gathering. Okay? And he said, and kept on saying, Abraham unto his Avdol. In the New Testament, it would be doulos, his bond slave. The oldest, in his house, look with the word faith there. In his house, he's the father of the house, and in Beth. All right, Bethlehem means what? Bethlehem, house of bread. All right, a woman that was a genuine virgin was a Bethulah. She was one that was kept and watched in the house, Bethulah. All right, Alma was a sexually mature woman. That's another term for virgin, but it means sexually mature. Bethulah is the woman that was watched in her house and kept in the house, guarded. All right? And in the New Testament, the word for virgin is parthenia, or parthenos. Separated. The oldest in his house, the one ruling, Ha-Mashel, the one ruling in all which to him, Sim, he placed. Or he said, I beg you, please, your hand under my thigh. All right? Place your hand under my thigh. If you go look at these, and you can look up these things here, it says, Theis tain karim su hipoto meron mu in Greek. What he actually did, now this is a culture that is totally strange to us, okay? What Abraham had him do, he had him put his hand on his male organ, under his thigh, and he swore by his testicles and his male organ, because this was all of his generation. They did some weird stuff back then, I'm telling you. A lot different than today. This is totally different. We're going to run into Jacob's pillar here in a little while and find out what he did on that pillar. Okay? That's another weird stuff, okay? All right. So he swore by his male organs, his heirs. He swore by all of the heirs that he would have, all of the seed, that he was going to go back. And guess where? Who was the heir? All right? Now let's think about that. The heir. In Greek, the word heir is wheels. Wheels. That's the first one, then. That's the heir. We lived in a patriarchal system at this period of time. Who was literally Abraham's firstborn? Huh? Ishmael. Ishmael. And Ishmael means what? That comes from the word Simeon, comes from that word too. Ishmael means God hears. Little old Hagar, she had no choice in the matter. Sarah gave her to her husband, and she was young, she was fertile, she had a child right off. And the thing, what Abraham wanted to do in the first place, or not Abraham, but Sarah, she said, God is mad at me, and I want you to take my young, virile handmaid here and make her your wife. She was his wife, by the way. When two people come together, that was a marriage ceremony in the Old Testament, and even in the New Testament. That's it. So young people, when you get out there and get fooling around, don't get married too many times, okay? Because that's marriage. All right? Well, Abraham married her, and he wanted that to be his heir, but God said no. Said no. Sarah wanted to prove to Abraham that it was Abraham's fault, not hers, that he didn't have kids, she didn't have kids. But all of a sudden, God showed her, well, it's your fault, Sarah. God had shut her womb. And then she did have this child. So the first child that Abraham had was what gender? What nationality? She's a Hamite. A Hamite child. So, the next time that his wife had a child, she was a Shemite. And then what was the third wife of Abraham? She was a Japhethite. So, we have Abraham, the father of all three races in all reality, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. His blood is mixed in all of those. His literal zera, sperma, is in all of our whole human. Now, do you see how it can be like the sands of the seashore? All right. Well, he swore by his seed, all of the children that he would have. All right. And then God, Isaac, Yitzchak. We're going to look at the word Yitzchak too. Yitzchak. That's his name, Yitzchak. We're going to start at 24 and verse 3 next week. I hope you enjoyed the class. Come back, and you'll learn some more. See, you learned more than just Hebrew, didn't you? I mean, there's so much stuff in the Bible that'll make your head spin. And it'll make your head spin every week, too. It's not going to end. It's going to go all the way from Genesis through Revelation. I don't know. I will be here until the Lord is finished with me. I know that they tried to kill me already a lot of times, and I'm still here. But they haven't made it yet. Well, go out and do something eternal. Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, I will be here teaching the book of Romans from Greek. So you can learn Greek. Greek's a lot easier than Hebrew. But, I mean, I hope that Hebrew didn't just tear you up tonight, because the Bible is the most important thing that we study. But the Hebrew Bible, boy, I mean, it's explanatory. We're going to see a lot more. A lot more. All right. You ready to go? Turn you loose out on the world? All right. Brother Harry, would you dismiss us in prayer, please, brother?
Heavenly Father, we just want to come and say thank you, Father, for this class tonight, Father. Thank you for your word, and just pray that you continue to bless Pastor Jim, Father, as he teaches of your word, Father. And you know that as we learn your word, Father, we just want to take that word and share with others, Father God. And as we go through the week, Father, we just want you to use us, Father, and just place someone in our path, Father, that we can share the gospel truth. And we just pray, Father, that you just continue to bless each and every one in the class and just bring us back next week, Father. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I will have books for you next week. We'll get some more of the Volume 2s, and we'll get some Volume 3 for you also. So you'll have a book in front of every one of them. All right? Thank you for being here.
On your videos?
What?
Is volume 1 on your videos?
Yes.
Okay, so if I go to the website,
It's not on video, it's on audio.
Okay, that's fine. Is there a way to get the equivalent of the book?
What?
Is there a way to get the equivalent for volume 1 so you can follow along?
Yeah, you can study. I'll get you some more Volume 1.
How much are the two books that you referenced?
You bought more than you should.
Yeah.
Randall, did you bring your computer?
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay.